Greetings, Internet. So we're done with the drums and bass. So now we're going to move on to the other instruments. With this particular song, we have a lot of samples, as I said earlier, and I sort of have them divided up into what I had as a main instrument bus and then a backup instrument bus. So you see those are labeled as BU instrument. Now, since we're sort of redoing this thing as we go along to sort of be using the routing folder options right here, we're just going to create folders that are going to be main instruments and backup instruments, and that's going to be the rest of our instrument folders. So basically what I'm going to do is I had a little debate with myself on these cellos and violin parts, whether I should make a cello subfolder or not, but since they're sort of split between main instruments and backup instruments, I'm just going to keep them separated. So I'm going to highlight all the instruments that are going to go into that routing folder, and then I'm going to move to new folder, routing, main instruments. Okay, now these are all going to be in one folder, and we'll move on from there. So the main instruments and backup instruments, the big differentiation is that the main instruments are tracks that are basically going on throughout the entirety of the song, whereas what I have as backup instruments are stuff that's just only in certain parts, so a bridge or little pickups here and there, and that's the big difference there. All right, moving on to the electric piano. What I'm going to do on this track is going to be very simple. One thing I've been experimenting with lately is the F6. I'm going to use this both as an EQ and a dynamics processor and see what we can get with that. So we're going to solo our piano. We're going to go to a spot where it's playing. Adjustment there. All right, we're just going to hit play. So first thing I'm going to do on this is EQ it, and then I'm going to work with the dynamics processing from there. So the reason I fired up the F6 is I just wanted to listen to specific frequencies. With the F6, it's one of the only EQs I currently have that I can just solo certain bands and listen to just those bands. And what I want to do is just get rid of some of the low end, obviously, and then just sort of the meat in the notes. I wanted to get a little bit more of that, so that's what those boosts were for. One of those classic ignore the rule of not adding before doing deductive EQ, breaking the rule a little bit there, and now I'm just going to add a little bit more compression. So for this mix, I'm playing a little bit less with waves, which I'm just very, very used to, and a little bit more with a few Softube plugins that I've just more recently bought in the last few months, and just trying to see what I can get with that. So playing with a few things. Just the VCA. I believe it's based off of the 160A. So let's see how it goes. Some drive. Bring it up a little bit. going to mix it in. All right, that's it for now. Next, we're going to move on to the guitars, which is guitar slow effects, which are the next tracks down. Then after that, we're going to work on the acoustic. So hope you enjoy.